Good morning, everybody. It is Saturday, December 27th. It's just before 9 a.m. It's a pleasant 61 degrees, a very pleasant 61 degrees. It's sunny out. It's not breezy. It feels really good. I probably didn't even need a hoodie. Here in Bradenton, Florida, I've got Murdoc out here. Want to say hi today? Doing his little morning walk. It's a nice quiet Saturday downtown. They're setting up for the farmers market right now, but surprisingly there's not a bunch of loud cars going by, so I'm really enjoying my Saturday. We're running a little bit behind this morning. I had to do some meal prep, so I'm gonna get him on his little walk, and then I'm gonna go do the Riverwalk and get some exercise before I get my butt to work. I thought I would mention, if you're new here, thank you for subscribing. Since I started my vlog, I've picked up a good 20 subscribers, which to me is awesome that people even want to watch me doing this little talking in the morning thing. I mentioned the purpose of this blog is to share a little bit of my life in Florida with friends and family, but also to create some memories for myself. I don't have the best memory in the world. I would love to be able to look back on these and, you know, in 20 years and be like, oh man, I was so young. Like, look how my life was in Florida. It was great. I did the same thing almost every day. Just kidding. I do some fun adventures as well. Also, my dog Murdoc here. I know I keep showing him. He's getting a little bit old. I want to have some of him on film too. So this is somewhat leaving a little bit of a legacy for him online and for myself to look back on. So if you're new here, I appreciate it. I'm Lee. Welcome to my day. These little silly shots that I set up of where I get me and Murdoc walking, they're kind of embarrassing to do, especially when I'm setting the camera up in public and there's people walking up behind me when I do it, but I commit to it at that point. It is kind of fun though, because I'm always looking for a spot like where can I set my little tripod on where it'll balance. So it's like a cool little challenge I give myself. But just so everyone knows, I am doing the embarrassing, I guess, influencer creator thing where I set the camera up and then I walk back like 20 steps real quick and then I walk forward again and pick the camera up. It's embarrassing, but I admit I do it. It makes for a good shot. It makes for good memories. Shows me actually walking Murdoc. I hope you enjoy it. It's just about 10 a.m. It's warmed up to a nice 70 degrees. It's a little warm in the sun. I dropped Murdoc off and I got out to the Riverwalk. And as you can see from those clips I got, it is absolutely packed on there. Unfortunately, I don't have the patience or the time this morning to deal with that, dodging around people. You know, there's a whole jogging race thing going on there. It's just impossible to move on there. So I am taking some back roads and gonna head back downtown. I only got about halfway through my walk. This morning I've been doing a little bit of reminiscing about when I first lived in Bellingham, Washington. I had actually lived there a couple of years, but one of the houses I rented when I was about 20 years old, it was 1410 Iron Street in the York District. And we rented that house originally. It was a 3-story, 4-bedroom house with a basement. And we rented it with 5 people, assuming one was gonna have the bedroom, or the basement bedroom. And that turned into all of our friends moving up to Bellingham and moving into that place. At one point, we ended up having, I believe, 9 people living in there. We had 2 in the basement, 1 in each bedroom. The bedrooms were small. It was an old Bellingham house. We had a couch person. And then on top of that, all of us had like girlfriends and other friends hanging out. So that house literally pretty much at all times had like 12 to 15 people in there total. The problem that we ran into was it was a 1-bathroom house. So anytime you needed to shower or use the restroom, showering especially, you had to leave the door unlocked so people could go in there to pee. and things like that. It was really awkward, but just reminiscing on that, being able to make that work back when I was 20 years old is pretty awesome. I think with that many people, like the 9 of us living in there, I think it was $900 a month. We were paying $100 each in rent, which was super awesome. But I mean, it was, it was packed, it was busy, it was entertaining at all times. We had all kinds of fun parties in there, fun get-togethers. We originally rented it to throw house shows in the basement, which ended up turning into a bedroom for 2 people. So I think they had house shows after I moved out eventually, but it was a very cool place. Good times. We used to have campfires or little bonfires in the front yard and a little fire pit. Very cool place. The other side of that, today being 42, I can't even imagine having one roommate. I had roommates for years and years, and it was always, even if they were your best friend, they're gonna do things you don't like. They're gonna make messes, especially if you have a little bit of OCD as far as being clean. So nowadays, I've grown so accustomed to living by myself, having my own space, making my own messes. It would be hard to have a roommate. But with rent prices the way they are, I get it. People got to do what they got to do to live. For me, if I wasn't renting an apartment by myself, it would probably be van life, travel full time, figuring that out, because that's easier to me than having a bunch of roommates. And I know I do talk about van life a lot, and people are probably like, well, why not get a boat or an RV? Well, the problem with those is having a place to put it. The slips downtown Bradenton in the little marina, I believe those are like $1,200 a month minimum. I think you have a 33-foot minimum your boat has to be, something along those lines. It ends up being more than renting some places. Well, not today. I guess most rents, even for studios, start at like $1,500 around here, which are really hard to find. The RV thing too, RV parks are easily $1,200 a month, especially if you want to be able to hook up to septic, hook up to power. You know, if you're not doing that, you're just, I don't know, hauling your poop out or using a public restroom, which, you know, even if that's $900 a month, I'd rather just be out going wherever I want to go in a van. That's enough room for me. I don't have much stuff. And I know there's some people saying, why didn't you buy a house? It just didn't happen for me. Every time I started looking into buying a house, something financially would happen, something would happen in the market, the housing market would crash. There was always, I hate to say, an excuse for me not to do it. But it's also been the idea of buying a sticks and bricks box to live the rest of your days and die in. Just never really entertained me. The investment part of it did, putting your money into something that you're going to get your money back out of. But again, financially, that never happened for me. I've always loved the idea of retiring and traveling. It's kind of like the old school buying an RV and traveling that people used to be able to afford to do. Just my idea is a much more minimalist, smaller scale. Have less, go farther. That's where the van life comes in. I just try to deal with the hand I'm dealt. I'm not exactly sure where I get it from, but there's definitely a gypsy nomad part of my soul that I definitely listen to as often as I can. Another little thing I just thought of as far as buying a house is I've had this happen to me in apartments where I've rented a place and the neighbors turn out to be absolute nightmares of people to deal with. You just can't escape them because you're in a lease for at least a year. It's terrible. What if you bought a house and end up with one of those nightmare situation neighbors where, who knows, they're calling the cops on you all the time, they're sabotaging stuff for you, who knows? But man, I can't imagine being stuck somewhere that I bought that turns out to be absolutely miserable, something you didn't realize ahead of time, and not being able to escape that because you're locked into a mortgage or you have to sell at a loss. Oof. Everyone buying houses is really brave. I guess they're doing their research on their neighbors first. I've been at work for a few hours. I want to wrap up my recording for the day. I ended up taking a walk-in tattoo. It was out of the Get What You Get machine. Those are always really fun to do. Overall vibes of the day, as usual, it was a good day. My energy levels were up today. I wish I would have got my whole walk on the Riverwalk, but sometimes that happens. It was just too crowded to do it. And I'm going to enjoy this evening. The weather is super nice. It's still nice and sunny out, but I'm stuck inside of the tattoo shop for another couple hours. That's all I got for you today. Until next time, have a good one.